we present the unfair quiz, so please welcome your chairman, John Junkin.
Thank you. It is time again for the unfair quiz, and I will start with the answers to next week's listeners' questions, which are yes, yes, about 3 times, Vera Lynn, and 1927. If you have got any of those at home, then you've already won this week's quiz, which means there's not much point in this lot playing at all. But let's meet them anyway. For Cambridge, we have Phil Nice with his guest captain, the man who put the word Lev into television. Don't try and figure it out, it doesn't mean anything. Colin Baker. And playing for Wales this week is our resident Arthur Smith, whose guest captain, returning triumphantly for a second time, is Ronnie the Cuddly Blue Elephant. The last time Ronnie appeared on the show, I erroneously announced he was the property of the producer's daughter. This is untrue. He is the property of the producer. So, with him in charge of the programme and me in charge of the questions, what chance have these poor fools got? Let us find out as we start the first round. Colin, why didn't Lady Jane Grey use Grecian 2000?
Because it was only 1500 and 1600 and whatever it was, and there was 400 years to go, so she couldn't possibly. It's a silly question.
Well, that's a very accurate answer for which you can have 5, but boring, so take away 3. Right, Arthur. For which lady was Troy sacked?
Which lady was Troy sacked? Well, Troy was caught shoplifting, wasn't he? He nicked a pair of knickers for his girlfriend, Helen, so he was sacked, obviously. So the answer is Jimmy Greaves, who did use a lot of Grecian 2000, I believe.
That was the last question, Arthur.
Well, it's the unfair quiz, John.
That's true. You can have 8 points for pointing that out to me.
I'd also like to point out that I'm working here with a cuddly toy that cannot say anything, cannot move, is completely and utterly pointless.
A lot of people have said that about Des O'Connor.
What I want to know is he getting paid? Is this cuddly elephant getting paid?
You want to be really upset? More than you. This question is now open for a bonus point. For which lady was Troy sacked? Phil.
Helen.
Is correct. Phil, it's your turn. You're going to get an entertainment question. How can you shut Frank Carson up? I don't know who said that in the audience,
yes,
but they've got 20 points.
Straight away.
If you didn't hear it at home, they said you can't. Right, it's now Ronnie's turn. Ronnie, I'm going to give you a perfectly straightforward history question.
Well, that's stupid, because I'm an elephant. I don't know anything.
How very unfair of the producers, but 2 people on the same team, neither of whom knows anything. Here you are, Ronnie. Exactly. Which past American president, Ronnie, was supposed to be dependent on the advice of his daughter, Amy?
Ludovic Kennedy.
Not bad for an elephant. Give him 5. Colin, you are going to have science. Can you name the first woman in space?
Before I do that, can I plug my new book?
Yes.
Damn, I haven't written one.
Well, there's time.
Can I write one quickly while I'm deliberating? The first woman in space?
Yes.
It was something like Tereshkova, but it wasn't Tereshkova.
Well, it says on this card, Tereshkova.
Was it
I think that's
Tereshkova?
worthy of a round of applause.
Well, there we are. Ludmilla. Was it Ludmilla Tereshkova? No.
It was, you pushed your luck there, it was actually Valentina Tereshkova.
Valentina Tereshkova.
What's she doing now, then?
Actually, Ludmilla dropped out at the last minute. That's interesting, because the Tereshkova sisters, they were
Unfortunately, she dropped out at the bottom when they'd taken off. The second part of the question is very simple.
You're impressed, aren't you?
Be honest, did you really fancy her?
Well, I fancied Ludmilla. That was the unfortunate thing, because I was writing a book about her. And when she dropped out of the space program, I couldn't write it anymore.
I think we're going to have to hurry on, because if memory serves, Ludmilla was a monkey. Let us pass on terribly quickly to a round on the buzzer. Bill, you have the question. How long will it take to bury an armchair on the beach at Cromer?
It would take about a day because it actually entails going up, taking it up in the coach, taking the spade, digging the hole, putting it into the beach, covering it all up to make sure it's completely covered, then coming back on the coach, or maybe on the train, and it would take a whole day, John. Hello.
I can only give you 4 for that. Right, this next question is also on the buzzer, and it's on science.
That was simultaneous.
Ronnie. Now, Ronnie, you might know about this.
I'm doing an impression of Arthur during this question, by the way.
Oh, uncanny. Ronnie, was Madame Curie a bit of a goer?
I know that Louis Pasteur and Marie Curie used to do a double act and play tennis together. And I do recall that after one of the tennis games, Louis Pasteur said to Marie Curie, "What about it, Marie?" And at that point, he invented pasteurised milk.
Well,
So, yes, is the
apart from
answer.
the first bit, that's exactly what I've got on the card, so you can have 10 points for that. Right, no buzzers, no bells. I'm going straight round everybody with a mixed bag question, starting with Arthur. If I am my mother's sister's auntie's nephew...
You must be ill.
4 away for answering before the question was finished. If I am my mother's sister's auntie's nephew, who is Giles Brandreth?
He's a complete pillock.
Give him his 4 back and 20 more besides. Phil, Frank Boff is married to Nestor Boff, who is married to Nestor Tables.
Well, that would be Fred Tables.
20 points, absolutely right. Ronnie.
Yes?
If your voice has changed again. If
I've had the operation. It's hard on an elephant, I tell you. I had a team of obstetricians in.
they shortened your trunk. If Ronnie, if
Yes?
the answer is 9W,
Yes?
what is the question?
Can you say 9W?
Not bad. I'll give you 10 for that, Phil.
Well, I hardly think the answer to the question, can you say 9W, will be 9W. It will be yes or no, surely.
I will now tell you the answer to 9W is, tell me, Mr. Wagner, do you spell your name with a V? It's Colin, it's your question.
Could I just point out here, John, that Wagner wouldn't have said 9W, he would have said 9V.
Do you know, I didn't know he was Jewish.
He was actually asked the question by P.G. Wodehouse and was being uncommonly civil and answering it in the language in which it was asked.
So why didn't he say no W then?
Because that would have sounded like now.
Only if,
Hang on.
only if you read it.
Well, I've got to follow the plot. Phil showed off, so he loses 3. Colin showed off as well, so he loses 3.
I've got fans in the German contingent
Arthur...
here.
Another 2 off them. Arthur tried to help me, so he can have 6.
I love you, John.
And give him another 8. And I got the answer right, so I can have 10. We're going to do... What we're going to do? Oh, entertainment. We haven't done that for a long time.
No.
Entertainment. Now, these are all perfectly straightforward questions, and there is nothing wrong with them whatsoever. Arthur, which British television programme is the longest running in the world?
The news.
Do you know it's not? Colin?
I'm on the same side. What the papers say.
No?
The weather.
No?
No, it's not. It's the Archers.
No? That's not on television, you pillock. 8 away for being ignorant.
I watch
I know
it on the
it's very
telly.
vivid to you. It's very vivid,
Yes.
isn't it?
It's the sky at night.
But look, I can't believe this, because frankly, they must have had the news on before they had the Sky at night.
No.
So you're saying when they started on television, they didn't have the news at
No.
all?
They didn't call it the news in those days.
Oh. What do they call it? The Sky at Night.
They started off with the Sky at Night and it became the news, yeah.
Exactly.
So Patrick Moore's a newsreader then? That's why I can't understand it ever.
Colin, who played Boone?
Michael Elphick.
28 points. No messing about, no arguing across the table. That's what I like to hear. Right, we're going to have a round on history now. Arthur?
Yes?
This country so far has had 2 King Charles.
King Charles I,
Which one
King
was
Charles
executed?
II. Oh. Sorry. What?
Which one was executed?
Which one was executed? The second.
Pathetic, isn't it? He's only got 2 choices. He picks the wrong one.
No, I mean, the second one wasn't executed. And neither was the first, curiously. He was hanged, wasn't he?
We've conferred here. Is that allowed?
Yes.
Confer. I thought it was Charles I, and that he was...
Charles I,
Very frightened.
absolutely right.
Very frightened.
10 points for Charles I. Second part of the question will now go to you, Colin. What was Oliver Cromwell's favourite joke?
His favourite joke was, what did Charles I say just after he was executed?
It's one of Jimmy Tarbuck's first jokes, wasn't it?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yes. OK, another 10.
Well, what was the punchline of that joke?
Well, there wasn't one, you see. That's the whole point. That's why I find it so funny.
Oh, yes, how stupid.
Yes.
Oliver Cromwell disapproved of humour.
Well, you
Another
can
10.
actually speak after you're executed. Apparently the mouth still goes.
Really? He probably said, "What's up, Doc?"
He probably said, oh, sod it, I've had my head chopped off.
Ooh, that's a bit sore.
Hang up, I've forgotten whose question it is.
It's Ronnie's.
Right, Ronnie. Why
Yes?
do you think Napoleon had his hand stuffed up his waistcoat?
There are many answers going back many years throughout the music hall that answer this question. But the one that I choose is Napoleon had his arm because he only had one arm, you see.
That's not bad. Give him 2 for that. All right, now it's Colin.
Yes, it is.
In a film called On the Town, there were 3 male leads. One was Gene Kelly, one was Frank Sinatra. Who was the third?
Oh, the other fella.
Correct, 5 points.
Yes.
Second part of that question is, what does Bonnie Langford think she's doing?
Well, she knows, and her mother knows, and I've tried to get them to tell me, but neither of them have so far vouchsafed it. But whatever it is, it's jolly effective.
It's cookery, I think.
10 points. Arthur. Can you please sing the music at the beginning of a 20th Century Fox film?
Oh, yeah. Da, 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 da. Oh, no, that's Hawaii 5-0, isn't it? 20th Century Fox. Ah, yes. Oh, yes, of course. The film that we're thinking. Da, 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 da. The answer is no, I can't sing one.
Oh, no, it was nice to hear Hawaii 5-0 and Dixon and Doc Green again. Give him 10 points, five for each of those. Colin.
Isn't it?
Bong! I don't think so, no.
I believe it was you with the hammer, wasn't it?
No, that was rank. You'll pardon
I
me.
thought it was rather
was
good, actually.
rank,
I thought it was very
I'm
good.
not sure. Hang on. I think it was... La-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We shall pass on to the first thing that my hand dips into, which is science.
Oh, thank God for
Open
that. I wonder
question.
what it might be.
On the buzzer or the bell, science. What is bent... Right, Phil, the question was, what is bent?
Bent is a type of thermometer, and it's used to register. It's not used to register temperature or anything like that. It's used to register how funny people are. It's a comedy thermometer. A bin.
Yes, I'd like to interrupt my friend. It's a friend of Bill.
Another 10. We shall now have a music round. No, we won't. Just for a change, we will say Arthur and Ronnie.
Go home.
I am at home.
Listen to this.
I live here. Yes.
Wasn't it nice?
Well, it was a drunken bee.
Not bad. Colin?
I think he was a French fundamentalist.
5 points each. Any more offers? It was Sue Lawley trying to hum the national anthem. If you care at all, it's officially listed in the BBC archives as a blue bottle circling at a height of 7 feet.
What does the one that hurt let her do? I'll give up on that.
Yes, I will. We can always cut that. Phil and Colin, listen to this.
That's, oh well.
Colin.
You go first.
Isn't it Nigel Lawson immediately after the budget?
What could you do? Give him 20 points. It was, well, near enough. It says here, wild boars having tea, but I mean, I can see, we might do some more of those in a minute. We're going to have a music round now. And the first question is going to go to Arthur and Ronnie. Who wrote music for the Royal Fireworks?
Handel.
Correct. Second part of the question, what instrument did Guy Fawkes play?
Well, he used to play the Catherine wheel.
Science question open to everybody except Ronnie.
That's not fair.
5 points off for complaining. Which is known as the red planet? Colin.
Mars.
Is correct. And the second part, if there is supposed to be intelligent life in the solar system, why is there no sign of it in the sun every day?
Because the solar system is comprised of planets and the sun is not a planet. I mean, that's very obvious, I think. Because over years of watching the sky at night, which is the longest running television program, I have learnt that.
60 points off for being a smart-ass. Right. We shall now have geography. Colin. Los Angeles means City of the Angels. What does Walthamstow mean?
Well, that comes from the Old English. Wold, which is a trysting place. Ham, which means a bad actor, as we all know. And stow, meaning stow it, get rid of it. So it's a place where you get rid of bad actors in a little dingley dell. You bury them.
I'm going there now.
Yes? Arthur, who, before Annabel Croft, was the girl in Treasure Hunt?
Annika Rice.
Is correct. Second part of the question, if Annika Rice married Quentin Crisp, what would their kids be?
Shredded wheat. Shredded wheat was my answer, but I'm withdrawing it, in fact.
I'll give you 5 for Annika Rice, and I'll give you 3 for shredded wheat. And what I've got here in brackets, it says, if they say Rice Krispies, say no miracles. Which I suppose is true, if you think about it.
Sorry, Rice Krispies.
No miracles. Phil, I want a very, very short answer to this. Is it possible to embarrass a... That's correct. Right. Colin, if St. Christopher is the patron saint of travellers, who is Isla St. Clair the patron saint of?
He's the patron saint of no-hopers.
11... give them... Whatever they've got 3
It's a
eights.
bit
Give them the other
nasty,
5
that,
eights to
wasn't it?
make it up.
Poor old Isla St. Clair. What's she ever done?
Nothing.
No, exactly. So, yeah, I'd go with the same thing I said, really.
Scores at the end of that round. 13 to me, 40 to the audience, 112 to Phil and Colin, and in the lead, Arthur and Ronnie with 114. We will now have another sound round. The first one this time goes to Phil and Colin. Listen to this.
Could you ask Ronnie to be quiet so we can hear the
2 points.
That was actually Arthur finding out that Last Orders was called 5 minutes ago.
Was it? I'm going then.
I'll tell you what, you can have 5 points for the answer and 6 off for frightening me to death by saying that. It was actually the mating cry of the young Dunco, which I would have thought was perfectly obvious.
What about an old Dunco? Don't they ever get to mate?
Well, don't make noises like that.
They do, but they have so little breath left they haven't got time for a cry.
That was
Arthur
with
and
feeling,
Ronnie.
I thought.
Listen to this.
I'm still interested.
Oh, my God.
Anne Diamond giving birth. To a old Dunko. Dunko Diamond.
Incorrect. Incorrect, because there wasn't a television camera in sight, and unusual, because they won't broadcast it. That was, according to the BBC archives again, audience panic and rush for exit. Right, on the buzzer, were Laurel and Hardy Native Americans?
No.
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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
I got 4 no's from over here, so they get 20, and I got 3 no's from over there, so 15. Why weren't they? Colin?
Because they weren't born in America. Fool.
Not bad.
Because Stan Laurel was born in Lancashire, and Oliver Hardy was born in his house.
Oliver Hardy was actually born in Georgia, actually, but Stan Laurel was born in the north of England. Give him another 7 points for knowing something, which is more than we can say for the rest of the people here.
Mind you, Zola Budd wasn't born in Britain, and she's British.
Take off 4 points for bringing politics into this programme. Right, I think this one should go to Phil and Colin. It's an entertainment question. What would you call a sequel to Gone with the Wind?
Sharp intake of breath.
Yeah, sharp intake of breath.
Not bad. 3. Arthur.
Departed when she farted.
At this point, the listening audience are going to want to know why Arthur and Ronnie's score went up by 10 points. If you do, please write to Arthur enclosing a stamped addressed envelope, and he will steam the stamps off, and you will never hear from him again. Another entertainment question. Arthur, it's your and Ronnie's turn, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
What is the proper response to Crackerjack?
Blue Peter!
I'll ask the audience. Audience, what is the proper response to Crackerjack? Crackerjack! Your pencils will be given to you on the way out. Another 20 points to the audience. And the second part of that question, which also goes to you, Arthur and Ronnie, what should you shout when someone introduces you to Lloyd Grossman?
I don't know, but Lloyd Grossman's wife is obviously in the audience here.
Well, give her 10 points and my sympathy. And... Phil.
Go away!
Good. Short, succinct and sincere. Another 10 points to him. Right. I don't know where we'll go now. I think we'll go to science.
Now, let's go to Huddersfield.
If the Irish, Arthur, launched a space rocket, what would they call it?
He's trying to get me to go for an Irish joke here, I think. I think if the Irish launched a space rocket, they'd probably call it Space Rocket. Because they're very intelligent people.
Give him 10 for self-restraint. The temptations must have been horrendous. Phil?
They'd probably call it Apollo Leary.
Oh, give him 3. Not bad. Right, Phil and Colin. Which is the world's highest waterfall?
It's the Angel Falls in Venezuela.
That is correct.
Stunned.
Now, that gets you 5 points, Phil. If you can answer the first part as accurately as that, you'll get another 15. Mm-hmm. What time is it in Caracas now?
It's 2:30, I think.
Sorry. I don't know what time it is, but I know it's not 2:30. Open question.
Oh, go on,
Oh,
then.
Phil wants it.
Yes,
What's the chemical symbol for spaghetti bolognese?
Well, that must be... EUAC. I mean, it's EU, there's a bit of uranium in it, and then there's... Well, it's actually... it's mercury, so there's HG. Yes, it's EUAC.
Yeah, yes, I'll let him have that. He remembered what mercury was. That's wonderful.
When did you have a spaghetti bolognese with mercury in it, Phil? What sort of cafes do you go to?
Have you never eaten at the BBC canteen? Well, that brings us to the end of the quiz proper. And at the end, the scores are as follows. Me 13, audience 70. Arthur and Ronnie 145. And Phil and Colin on 161. Which means that the winning team is Phil and Colin. The highest individual scorer was the doorman. The top break went to Steve Davis. And the British girl came a brave 13th, once again breaking her personal best. And now, just before we leave, we have a round of questions in Latin for the audience. Oh, my God. Oh, well, please yourselves. Ta-da.